Rather than discussing what the Loch Ness Monster could be, instead I would like to draw your attention and your focus towards the environment, its role within the Loch Ness story, and why it's so important. Eleni and myself are often asked about the possibility of both caves and tunnels existing deep below the surface. Now, when I'm asked these questions, I'll always be honest. If I don't have the answer, I'll put my hand up, but I will give it my best shot. If there's any misinformation presented, I do apologise, and as always, I'm open to be corrected. So as you know, there has been several attempts in the past to find such formations in Loch Ness, but no caves or tunnels have ever been discovered. We obviously can't be 100% certain that there are no caves or tunnels, but it is unlikely, and both the geology and the history of the loch can provide us with some answers. Caves and tunnel formations within Scotland tend to be near or situated in soluble rock, such as limestone, chalk and gypsum. If you believe there's tunnels existing connecting Loch Ness and the sea, then unfortunately that theory becomes less likely due to the fact that none of those elements are present within the 6 to 7 mile distance separating loch and sea. Now if, this is a very big if, there were a tunnel system leading to the sea, they would have been completely blocked by now and choked with both debris and sediment, especially after 10,000 years. We should also consider the immense flood that took place around 10,000 years ago, when the ice dam of Glenroy gave way. That power and the immense force behind it changed the environment forever in a matter of days rather than months and years. We then have another great flood on the 4th of August 1829 known as the Muckle Spate. It was the most extreme flood recorded in Scottish history and extended from Inverness to Montrose on the east coast. Now, the impact may have not been quite as severe as the ice dams breaking from Glenroy 10,000 years ago, but this flood would have carried a hell of a lot of debris and sediment from one end of the loch to the other, but it does seem unlikely that such a tunnel would be accessible 10,000 years later. Another theory which has previously been discussed is tunnels linking both Loch Ness and Loch Morar together. Now, I'm fairly confident that this theory came about after individuals reported seeing the same creature in Loch Morar. But you need to remember, Scotland has more than 31,000 lochs, and that's a huge amount for such a small nation. And I believe this theory, or this connection, is nothing more than wishful thinking or a convenient explanation to why eyewitnesses were seeing the same creature both in Loch Ness and Loch Morar. If there was such a tunnel, then an amphibian or any diving mammal would not be able to survive that 40-mile journey. Now that's 40 miles in a straight line. By car, that journey is roughly 90 miles. In a strange way, you could say both lochs are related to one another. Loch Ness is 23 miles long, roughly 800 feet deep. Loch Morar is just shy of 12 miles long, and over 1,000 feet deep, and both have a mysterious creature, if you believe that. But tunnels connecting the two? I think that's a bit far-fetched. There's been several claims that there's caves within Urquhart Bay, or more specifically below Urquhart Castle. At some stage, a camera was constructed by Adrian Shine and the Loch Ness Project, which was eventually lowered into Urquhart Bay to study the consistency of the side wall. Now, despite Adrian's attempts, the steep clay wall showed no signs of caves within that area. If a cave does exist, or perhaps there's many of them, it really would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Now, I will fully admit that I'm still coming to terms in how to read sonar results, especially within Loch Ness. Mistakes can be made very easily if you don't understand the sonar readings and the image provided. For example, some individuals believe that this image you can see now shows a large cave and some small mountains, but this simply is not true. We shouldn't lose hope just yet. If there are no caves and tunnels within Loch Ness, then perhaps we should be looking at the rock shelves which can be found along the loch side steep walls. If there is an unknown aquatic species within Loch Ness, could they be using these large shelves as cover? A resting spot? Could sonar detect such an object? This might not be the best example to use, but it is possibly relevant, and I'm referring back to the wreckage of the John Cobb's Crusader. They had great difficulty identifying the exact location, and it avoided detection for some time because the wreckage was so close to the loch sidewalls. That information might not be 100% accurate, so I do apologise, but it's worth thinking about. I'm absolutely delighted that the Loch Ness mystery is still going strong, especially after all these years. And that comes down to you guys. That enthusiasm and that passion is what keeps us going. So thank you for your support. Thank you for putting the faith in what we're trying to achieve. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again at the next one when we visit Loch Ness.